are just going to be seeing a regular opening here from Byun. So what does that mean? Well, looks as though the ping has finally sorted itself out. That does mean he actually went for a barracks fast expand. This is a build that Byun does not do very often, and he only really does it if he knows that he can afford to against his opponent. If he knows that his opponent is not going to cheese him. In this case, when you're playing against Trap, absolutely. You know that Trap is not going to cheese you. Trap is a player who's going to play very, very standard. He might get aggressive. He can definitely do timing attacks, but a cheese is not really on the docket. Trap is fairly lactose intolerant, so unfortunately is not able to really go for things like that. Especially in PvT, he just avoids it for the most part. And so Byun should be able to get away with going for the CC first without really anything happening to him. It has, of course, the bunker up. The command center is just going to continue to produce workers, and he goes into his factory and then his starboard. It is about as like vanilla of a build as possible, although, you know, vanilla is an interesting flavor. I'm not going to say that vanilla is standard, but that's just the saying. That's how it goes. The third base is going to be on the way from Trap, and I'm actually very interested to see if Byun ends up going for a faster third command center in regards to where he usually is very much like 2 base for a while, get the pressure going, and then take your third. As actually, I really like this play as well. That's an empty medevac that Byun has just moved out onto the map. He did not go Widow Mines, he went tanks, but wants to try and scare Trap, wants to try and get a reaction, and especially wants to stop Trap from moving out across the map. Because what is Byun preparing for? Well, right now he's preparing for a very, very strong Marine tank push, potentially. And as long as you're able to keep the Protoss at home, Trap is not going to be scouting out for this, although does scout it with a hallucination. Knows that it's coming across the map now. But here we go. I mean, this is an old school push. This used to be done so much. Usually it was with the 3 tanks as Byun again tries to get the fake out there. Trap not going to fall for it. We're going to be having the tanks moving on up. These Stalkers do have blink, so they're going to start to pick away at a few of these Marines. The tanks actually should be the ones to push forward first. And the tank is going to get focused down, but the siege already coming through. And now another medevac can be brought over to support this. So you're going to have the healing on the Marines. And what is there for Trap? I mean, there's going to be an Immortal being produced, but that is not done just yet. The Blink Stalkers are going to go for a wraparound, though. Actually going to go for a counterattack even. Blink over the wall. Not going to catch that tank, though. That's actually really big. This tank should be able to get itself to the support of its other units. Hides away in the brush. Oh, the pickup is so good from Byun. No, Byun. I mean, you lose the medevac, but you save the tank? That is insane. As Byun is going to keep vision on that Zenlog Watchtower, just use that tank to get some chip damage against the Stalkers. As, I mean, Trap pushes this down, but it doesn't actually lose anything. 2 tanks fall for it. Byun, I don't think, is going to be able to hold this position for much longer. It was a very cool move, though, and if it had worked out, could have been so disastrous for Trap. But now you're going to have these Stalkers move across the map. Mind you, behind this, Trap was not able to produce workers. Trap was just all in on the unit production. That means that Byun has actually caught up. 51 workers to 53. Trap will start to extend that lead back out, of course, with this third base being finished. But the third CC is already on the way, as the Observer does get scouted, does get actually sniped, as this tank should go down. Very good pickups coming through here from Trap. Is the repair actually keeps that tank alive for a lot longer than it should have been. And right now, Byun just playing with the vision, trying to see how many Stalker kills he can get. The answer is, well, not a lot. Blink Stalkers, unfortunately, do a good job of dealing with non-stun Marines. And one more does eventually go down before all of them are cleaned up. Behind this, it's 2 more barracks. It is combat shields and concussive shell on the way. Byun has just been building up a very large army, now has a double drop moving out at the same time. So he's going to try and get some damage done with this, and Byun just constant pressure. As the 2 Immortals are going to move into his base with that Warp Prism. We're going to see how much damage these players can get done. The double drop now going to unload, and that is actually a very, very big Artosis pylon if Byun is able to snipe it. And there we go. That's a ton of units unpowered. The recall has to go on down. That's on the Warp Prism as well, so Byun just going to get on out. It's a good dodge on the Widow Mine. And 6 workers for a delay on the CC. Byun honestly probably going to take that trade pretty happily. can just save those medevacs to come back in later when he's applying more pressure onto the map. That third base can land on location. Armory is actually already being started up, and this is a big difference between the last series and the one that we're seeing right now, as Byun is getting this armory so much faster, and I think that might even be to start up his +2 weapons attacks as quickly as possible, foregoing armor at the current moment. And he can do that because there's not Colossus, really. You don't actually need the armor upgrade. As High Templar on the way, Storm is not done, and we'll see what the plan is here for Byun. He does, of course, have the Cloaked Widow Mines now available with that armory finishing up, which is obviously probably the much more apparent use for it, as we're going to see a drop now come in. Cloaked Widow Mines, they don't have the speed burrow, but they're not going to go down. Let's just snipe off a Worker and a Zealot. That's going to be all, as a double drop going to make its way into the natural now. Trying to get a few more Worker kills. The cannon is going to go down, and Probe's going to start to fall. The Warpin's actually not yet quick enough to save them. 10 probes end up dying in Byun right now. Absolutely doing so much work right now with this little bit of pressure as the Storm goes down. Luckily, it does not appear. Oh, that lag is affecting the players, but a surround coming through the pickup, and Byun, no way, gets out with everything. As continued pressure, more Workers going down. 18 probes in total have fallen now just from this double drop. Make it 20. Byun is going to evacuate his third base immediately. Does not want to risk losing the game, just trying to hold that when he knows that he's done so much damage to his opponent. As another double drop finds its way into the main, Byun is going absolutely crazy right now with this double prong pressure. He's not letting Trap breathe even for a second. As these charges are trying to put in, that Storm drop does so much damage though, but that is the last Storm. Byun retreats to the bunker, so many red hit points. He's gonna try and bring the Workers here to hold on. He just needs to hold on. If he's in the main, this double drop is getting so much work done. Cleaned up so many Workers. I mean, forced the Workers to move to a different base. And Trap has to pull away. Byun survives the attack, can reestablish his third base, and man, Byun, I mean, this is so different from the last series. It feels like Byun is playing so much more proactively here against Trap. So of course, right now, there's a lot more prize money on the line if you win this series. And Byun absolutely wants that. As Ghosts are now on the way, we'll be able to, I mean, of course, use the EMPs to get rid of the energy on those High Templar, and that's going to be the real big challenge here for Trap, is that his only AoE right now is his High Templar. He does not have Colossus, he does not have Disruptors, and so you're really relying on the fact that you can get these Storms off. If an EMP hits all of your High Templar, if your Warp Prism gets sniped, then suddenly you don't have that splash damage, and the bio just trades so much better up front. As we are going to be seeing a push come out here from Trap as he's taking his fourth base. First EMP does miss. Storm, though, also not going to connect. Trap checks for the fourth, and it's not there. This +2 is on the way for the Protoss. At the same time, we do have Byun with 1-1, starting on his +2 weapon attacks. Enhanced Shockwave on the way for this Ghost. Get them that extra AoE, extra range. As it looks like we're going to see a Storm drop here from Trap. Very well avoided, but the Storms, do so much damage. Oh no, the Warp Prism, it went down to the Widow Mine. I thought it managed to get out, but it doesn't. That means all 4 High Templar are going to fall. I mean, you get 16 Workers for it, but is that worthwhile? I think so. There's enough High Templar left over. I don't think that Trap is really worried about losing just those few. Of course, the annoying part is you have to replace that Warp Prism. And now suddenly you don't have a way to pocket these High Templar. They are just out in the open. They can be EMP'd. They can be sniped. And it means that the AoE option for Trap is a lot more vulnerable than before, as it looks like. I mean, are we going to just see a base race here? Byun stimming across the map. Trap's committing on in. And both these players are going for it, but that's a great EMP. So much energy down. The shields are gone, and now Byun, he's going to look for the wraparound. Byun, Trap is going to try and escape, but this Widow Mine, it can be retargeted. Is it retargeted onto the High Templar? As the bio is going to attempt to chase this down. Recall is used, the single Storm used, the High Templar is sniped. And the rest of these units are going to find their way on out. Trap tried to force the base trade there. Tried to force some damage, but really didn't get anything. Byun with a great response. Scan goes down, sees the High Templar that are being hidden behind the vision there. This is where you need to push your ghosts forward. You need to try and use those snipes to get rid of them. Good storm there. Doesn't really get a ton of value. The Medevac's are just going to heal all these units back up. Another storm kind of whiffing here, but Trap does have a lot of energy available. Currently sitting at 6 High Templar. 1 or 2 storms does not really hurt him all that together that much, as the 4th base has been established for Byun. And +2 is about to finish up, so we'll have that 1 upgrade advantage. Has another army there on the left side of the map that's going to be trying to stim in at the same time. It's not even an army, just a small group of units that I can actually be dealt with just probably a cannon even. But what is the tech choices for Byun right now? Right now, it's 5 Vikings. Of course, those can help deal with the Warp Prism, but it is just Bio and Widow Mines. I would love to see Byun maybe start to work in some Liberators. I think could be so effective in this army composition. Right now, doesn't have his 2nd starport. Doesn't even have his 8th barracks actually done yet. As +3 is going to start. Byun sees the army movement. The base is open. Oh, Trap has misread this. He thought Byun swung to the other side of the map, but that wasn't the case. As feedbacks go down, but the EMPs are even better. Another storm! Means that Byun has to get on out. He cannot commit to this fight. The energy, there's just enough left on these units. As the chase down is going to come through from Trap. Byun now trying to fight up the hill. More EMPs going down. Actually getting a ton of value from these EMPs. Trap is fighting up a hill with no shields. And I think that Byun actually just found the fight that he needed. The Immortal Shields are going to be triggered. But Byun actually ends up winning that trade. And that should not have happened, but I think Trap overchased. Had a great start to that fight, but just went a bit too far. Fighting up the ramp was not what he needed. +3 weapons for both these players on the way and going to finish up fairly shortly in the next minute or so. Snipes onto these stalkers. I mean, Byun knows there's not a lot of energy left. There's no High Templar left for Trap. It's actually Colossus that are being produced now because Trap knows he doesn't have the time to rebuild that High Templar energy. This 5th base, though, is going to be under siege. As the 4th of Byun is going to stand strong. Can't really do much against that planetary fortress with the units that Trap has right now. The base has to be canceled. Colossus stepping a bit too far forward. Byun doesn't want to commit on in. It's just going to have to stim away. But Byun right now is extending his lead. I mean, 20 supply ahead. And that's all in the army. It is such a strong army for Byun. It is mostly bio, but the amount of utility he has, just the few ghosts mixed in, the EMPs, he's been able to get so much value with them. And he did have a lot more Vikings before, but is now trying to add them back on since the Colossus count has increased. This +3 weapons is going to finish up. Byun. What is the plan? It's actually going to be, again, I think at this point, again, 2 upgrades ahead. As soon as his +2 armor finishes, that's going to make a big difference. Again, there's no storms. There's nothing really that's going to ignore the armor upgrades and the upgrade deficit that Trap is in. BC's working with Colossus, Stalkers, Immortals, Archons, all these units. You know, those upgrades are important. As Byun does scout out, the 5th base is attempting to be taken. Actually, that is Byun's 5th. Never mind. Byun right now is a base ahead. That's why I was wondering why he was so far ahead. That's because he does have the 5th. I thought it was just his 4th, but the 5th is now established, and Trap does not have that luxury. Byun's economy is absolutely just booming, and Trap right now is just playing defense. There's not really anything that Trap can do to stop it, so he has to sit back. He has to hope that Byun pushes into him and he's able to find a good fight, but just loses. I actually don't even know what he lost there. I think was that a Warp Prism that just went down? No, the Warp Prism's still alive. Just a lone Immortal out on the map as Byun. Byun is floating his only factory. Byun doesn't have any factories. He's just pure bio right now. That's his only factory, and he's using it for scouting information. As, oh, the storm flank. Oh, the War Prism goes down. There are no more storms left. The MP hit. That's all the High Templar. No, there's 3 left. Where are they? Well, there's one that was hidden there. He's not going to be able to do anything. Feedbacks go down. Disruptors going to try and find an angle, but the immediate snipe, the stim forward. The Disruptors go down. Oh, but Trap's looking for the angle. He has the surround. Doesn't matter. The Disruptors get killed. And not all of Trap's army is fighting as Byun just going to stim it down. And that is going to be the game. Byun got to take game number 1. As in the top left-hand corner of Berlingrad. It is the player who, at one point, was the best Protoss in the world. Of course, since then fallen off just a little bit. Is not performing as consistently. Is still extremely skilled, though. And of course, is Trap. In the bottom right, taking that game 1. Almost a completely different style to what he played against Classic, but looking so much stronger. Shopify Rebellion. It is Byun. And yeah, that after having, I believe that was almost a 18, 16, 20. Minute game in game number 1. We can take a little a breath here. We can all go grab your water, have a little break, take a deep breath, do some breathing exercises. Actually, very good to calm yourself down as we head on into game 2, as we get started here. And again, for everyone wondering, for everyone who's watching, if you want to support the players and the prize pool and Alpha X, we do put on a lot of tournaments, so all support is appreciated. Click on that Match Arena link. There is a code that you can claim as, ooh, Byun tries to go for this round, is not able to get it. But click on the Match Arena code. There is a claim code that you can do to add 25 cents for free, as well as sponsor quests that don't cost you anything, so please, it is very much appreciated, any support that you do end up giving, as well as the sponsored portion of this stream, which you can see on screen. We will talk about it more, but you can scan that QR code, and you can download Marvel Strike Force. As we have the Nexus coming down here for Trap. Cybernex Core finishing up, and altogether, both these players going for very standard openings, which, as I said, you kind of expect from both of them. I think that against Trap, Byun is a lot more confident in the fact that Trap's not going to cheese him. And that's really what you see in the build order. Like, Byun is going CC first every game so far. In these past 2 games, he's gone CC first. He hasn't been worried about Trap coming across the map, proxying him. It, of course, is going the Concussive Shell Marauders in this game for a little bit of safety. And that will mean that he can also try and look for, some sort of a timing attack or a pressure early on in this game, as it is going to be the factory first. And this does look like the same build they did against Classic on that Hardwire match, which he, of course, did end up losing, but the opening was very, very cool to see. I would like to see the Concussive Shellians, but it does not look like that is going to be on the docket. Instead, swapped over 2 Concussive Shell Marauders. Gonna be able to stop anything from really happening. This Reaper, ooh, almost gets the worker. Doesn't want to dive back in, though. But it does appear as though it's just going to be the 2 Marauders, and this factory might even be swapped on over to immediately go into something like a Cyclone or a tank. But no, 2 additional barracks, so it's going to be the 3 racks from Byun. Again, this is his favorite build. This is the build that I think Byun is the most comfortable with, and probably the most confident with, especially in this matchup, is this 3 racks. And it makes sense because it has high micro ability. It really allows Byun to do whatever he wants, as the Marauders are just walking into the natural, and they're actually going to force a probe pull because, yeah, they can 2-shot probes. So your 3 Adepts, they don't kill them fast enough, and Byun is actually going to stop a lot of mining here. Forces the energy out of the Oracle as well. And overall, it's actually a worthwhile walk. I mean, sure, you only get 1 worker. Sure, you're going to lose quite a bit for it, but you scout the Oracle, you stop Trap from mining, and you know that the Oracle does not have energy. Overall, it's not that bad of a trade for Byun. Of course, losing the Marauders is unfortunate, but those are units that you can afford to lose, as Trap is coming across the map right now as 3 Adepts and 2 Oracles, and this is actually an attack that we've seen players do before. We'll see if it's going to work out for him, as that's a proxy pylon already getting set down. Trap does want to be aggressive this game. The third Nexus on the way. Cyclones are out. There we go. Shade on in. Workers are going to start to get sniped. The Cyclone has to pull back, though. Isn't going to be able to find the damage. The Oracle's actually focusing it down, but the bunker, the Marines being able to get rid of almost all of the Adepts. The Cyclones will fall. And of course, that is actually fairly worthwhile here. It's a nice block with the SCV. And right now, Trap winning out on these trades, actually. The 2 Cyclones falling, you lose the Adepts. You're so happy with that trade as Trap. As you have your third Nexus on the way, you have already a proxy pylon set up for pressure later on if you'd like. And now you have these 3 Oracles. And these 3 Oracles have a lot of utility. You have a lot of Revelations, you have Stasis Wards, you have a lot of damage output as well, but they're all low on health. All of them in the orange for their hull. Gonna dive on in. Look for worker kills, but you have to be careful you don't get surrounded. Missile turret gonna do a good amount of damage. The other one as well. Gets all of the shields down, but the Oracles are still alive. They're gonna be recalled on out, and Trap. A brilliant start to this game. Just look at the resources lost. Absolutely just, I mean, pulling Byun apart, and now Byun's looking for a 3 racks, but Trap's so accelerated in this game. His third base has not been really punished at all. Byun is going to look for a push out, though. He does have a large army. Now, it's only 6 Stalkers. He's working with 17 Marines, 4 Marauders. There's a lot to work with for Byun. He'll have the Medivacs as well, so maybe he can find something with this attack, but he needs to. It's just gateway units, and this is where you can be you have the most microabilities when it's just barracks versus gateway units. As the Stim's going to come forward, there's no blink available here for Trap just yet, so immediately the Stalkers are going to go down, but the force field's sectioning off half this army, and he just has to run away as the Oracles are going to chase down this small group, and Trap just effectively shuts down that entire push. As this double drop being loaded up, and that's getting scouted as well. Byun just getting shut down at every corner here, although this trade is actually decent. Again, blink not available. This is concussive shell Marauders. Byun can actually chase this down pretty well, and the Oracles can't even fight. Pylon is going to get picked off, and Byun right now. And the third base is being built on location, but still he needs to try and find damage. And I mean, but look at this army supply. What has Trap been doing? Trap's been trying to get up additional gateways. I don't think Trap realizes how committed Byun is to this pressure. And if Trap just missteps, if Trap doesn't have the energy on his sentries, this could actually go very, very badly for him. Oh, Trap's out of position. Byun's finding his way towards the natural. This could be massive. The pylons are just going to get sniped. The shield battery overcharge is shut down. And uh-oh, Trap. Byun finds the opening. He has so much army to work with right now. He's just stimming it straight up into the main. Does not care about any of these units. Snipes the building off. All of the Stalkers are dead. And he's now going to go straight towards this main base mineral line. The Oracles are going to get sniped down. Sure, this bio is going to get low, but you're finding so much value for it. And the pickup comes through. And Byun should be able to escape with at least one. Loses a lot in that medevac. But finds a decent army trade. 5 workers. Was it entirely worth it? I don't think so. I think Byun actually needed to snipe more of the pylons. I think he needed to get a few more worker kills, and maybe then it was worth it. But with that, he just traded army for a bit of pressure, and that is not entirely worthwhile. More gateways being placed down. Trap, again, trying to accelerate here. But it's just working with a very gateway-based army. That's actually 2 Templar Archives. Did he finish both? Okay, did manage to cancel the second one just in time before it finished. Robotics facility on the way. Trap has no AoE. It is bio versus bio. Byun has gotten another large army ready. Byun is actually evening out the worker count with all this pressure, and that is the one thing I will say, is even though you're trading army to just keep Trap back. Behind this, Byun is able to macro back up on 3 bases. Byun is able to get up his Ghost Academy. And now is once again fighting. Storm isn't done. Byun knows it. He sees that the High Templar don't storm. Immediately the shield battery overcharges. Pop picks up, gets those Marines on out. A counterattack from Trap, but Byun has units ready to deal with that. 4 SCVs go down. 6, 7 should be the total at the end of it. These Widow Mines are going to get chased down, but Byun actually doing so well. I mean, he took so much damage in this game early on, but has absolutely been working wonders with this bio army, as ghosts are now on the way. It's +1/+1 for Byun. That is going to be evened out fairly shortly. Psionic Storm is also complete on these 3 High Templar. Byun has to be careful. He has to know that it's done by now. There's been plenty of time. Just gonna back on up. Ooh, very, very nice. Force Field's gonna be able to snipe off a few of the Marauders. As a massive Zealot counterattack is actually coming through, and Trap, using these Warpids, currently sitting on 10 gateways, is gonna be able to find a lot of value. Marines trying to fight this, but you're 1-1 versus 1-1. These Zealots just do so much damage. Byun has to pull everything back. Byun's not gonna be able to fight this straight up. A lot of his units getting picked off. Trap extending his supply lead right now. Storm goes down. The Ghost, they need to EMP. They do actually get some good EMPs though. And Trap, did he extend too far forward? Another great Storm. Byun losing so much of his army right now, and I think that that might just be enough. I mean, Trap doing so much damage, pulls back. 18 workers go down. Is not able to finish off the game though. The Widow Mine drop did come through, but still it has been Byun that has been trading less efficiently this entire game. Oracle's just attacking. Apologies there. I had to read something, but Oracle's still harassing, still trying to get stuff done. Looking for damage, looking for information really, as Byun is on 3 bases still. Trap has gotten his 4th up. Trap is sitting at 69 workers, a very nice number of workers. I'm sure Trap is very happy with that, as he is going to produce 4 more, so he will ruin it, and the collective internet is not going to be happy with that move, as these ghosts are going to get pounced on. They need to try and EMP those High Templar, but they're not able to. Another ghost gets sniped by this Zealot counterattack. And uh-oh, Byun, you're going to have to split up your army. Does he have enough, though? The army supply is even. And these Zealots just trade so well. More workers are going to go down. And workers' losses is not what Byun can afford. As he's losing 8, 9, the SCV tally is just counting up. +1/+1 Zealots just wreaking absolute havoc. 15 more workers fall, 73 to 45. Byun just not being able to find his way back into this game. It looked like he was going to be able to, but Trap found the counterattacks, found the harassment, and that was able to swing this. As the 4th base is coming down for Byun, he's going to try. I mean, is he going to try and even use it? I don't know, as that's a great storm onto the army. Trap has had amazing storms this game. He knows that Byun is all in. He knows that he's done enough damage. Are there more storms left over? Should be one more, but a great split from Byun. The second one, though, lands on everything. A third! Oh, Trap absolutely decimates that army. And Byun's going to try and fight this out, but it's 171 supply to below 100. As the rest of these units are going to start to fall. GG, Trap. Gonna take game number 2, and we're all tied up. It's Glittering Ashes, top right-hand corner from a Freak of Freaks, and of course, tying it up is Trap. And in the bottom left, from Shopify Rebellion, Byun. Here's my question. Here. Okay, this is fun, as we should see a proxy pylon go down for Trap. We're gonna have some cheesiness on Glittering Ashes. No one wants to play a macro game on the big map. That's just how it is. It's too big. And Byun is also hiding a barracks, and this is a move that you do as Byun if you're trying to trick a Trap who you know is gonna scout out, which Trap has been doing. But guess what? Trap isn't scouting because Trap is gonna max packs you. Now, I don't believe this is a full max packs, as usually the full one is 2 pylons before the gateways go down. But even with that, Byun, he's gonna come across the map. He's gonna scout out with his SCV. And if this Reaper does not stay home, he actually might just take a whole lot of damage. The factory does go down before the CC, and this is very, very important for Byun. The fact that because he went for the hidden barracks, he is going for the fast factory because he knows he can be vulnerable to some sort of aggression, to some sort of timing attack. So you want to get this tech out a bit sooner, as the NG Bay block is going to come through. And this is actually a great move from Byun because he knows, hey, listen, you're doing something. Byun should have complete idea that Trap is trying to be cheesy, and look at that, the Reaper stays home. The pylon block is going to go through on that factory, on the wall in. Probe is immediately sniped. Byun scouting out with the Reaper. Is he going to see it? Oh, just barely misses. Oh no, Byun. He can't think that this is just a regular opening. He has to know that this is a proxy of some sort, as the Reaper is across the map. I believe that is going to be the Stalker that is now going to try and attack the front. And that can just be a cancel as well on the pylon if Trap so feels. But the SCV building the bunker. The SCVs have to be brought on over. Yeah, this is such a late bunker from Byun. I mean, this should have been built immediately. The Stalker is getting surrounded. SCVs are trying to build. The Stalker's actually going to get killed. The Stalker goes down, Trap. That's massive, losing a Stalker here. The SCVs can continue to body block away. You're going to lose a few, but the bunker will eventually go up. That means that the Cyclone has time to get up. And the pylon will go down, so somehow here, Byun is going to be able to hold on. It felt like it was so much more dire than it was. Trap has to take his second base at his third base location. Which, of course, actually going to hurt quite a bit here for the Protoss. Of course, for Zerg, you get an earlier third base, so you're not as worried about doing this. But as the Protoss, it opens you up to so much more harassment options. Twilight Council coming down for Trap. Byun just working on his tech. Does have a Cyclone out. Has not scouted where this proxy gateway is, though. Still is completely in the unknown for Byun, who is going to use that Cyclone. Actually, gets a lock on there on the 2 Stalkers heading across the map, I believe. Yes, that's a Dark Shrine from Trap. Trap doesn't want to play on this map, man. Trap does not want to play out a long game on Glittering Ashes. He just wants to end this game, as the Cyclone is actually going to press this Stalker, and there's not really much that Trap can do. Is immediately going to have to recall. And Trap has still not been able to get a natural base up. I mean, the second base is finally going to finish, but it's so delayed for Trap. It's so far away. And right now, Byun, Byun builds a Raven. Byun! He scouted it, I think. Yeah, he did see it, didn't he? Yeah, it's canceled. Byun is so good. This one Cyclone scouts the Dark Shrine, gets a Stalker kill, scouts the second base. I mean, this is just massive for Byun. He has a natural base mining on location. He has a Raven that's going to be out, and he can just use it for harassment now. As Marines on the way, tanks on the way. And Trap right now is, I mean, he's going to catch the Cyclone, but he is in, I mean, this feels like such a dire situation for Trap, who's going to be going up to 4 gateways. He's going to be adding on Blink, and that means that Trap is going to be committing to quite a bit of pressure here. But the worry is, you're committing to a 4-gate Blink Stalker. Your opponent's got tanks. Your opponent has a Raven. You know, Byun has 3 tanks out right now. You're not going to be able to blink up with this. You're so far behind because you went for the DT Shrine. You had to cancel it. you then start your blink. You're so far behind with this timing attack that I don't know if it's going to get any value done. I mean, Trap's going to attempt to, but this does just feel like such a dire situation. The third base is going to be built behind this. Trap is just trying to buy time to get up a third, to get up, as many units as he needs. But he's going to be blinking up. He's going to be blinking into 2 tanks. Even if he wants to try and cancel that stim pack. There we go. The first blink comes through, but these 2 tanks just shelling away. And you get a tank, but you can't commit in. Trap can't commit in. The blink. The 4 gateways not going to be used. As the Warp Prism is being produced, more gateways actually being added on right now before the third base is done. And Trap it feels like Trap is preparing for another set of all-ins or another set of pressure here. Because with these gateways with charge, honestly, I would not be surprised right now if Trap, with this, is going to be going for some sort of a charge lot Blink Stalker all-in off 3 bases. Because he's not building any more workers. He's at 41 workers. This Raven Harass kills actually 6 probes. And he is going to rebuild those. We'll see if he saturates this third. But if not, right now, you're looking at 7 gateways. Let's see, Trap is resaturating his second base here. The auto harass just being so annoying. Charge not done quite yet, and doesn't look like Trap is going to be trying to pull the trigger on any sort of all-in. He's just getting up these gateways. He's going to have the warp-ins for the attack that comes across the map. But is he going to be ready? Will the warp-ins be enough? Will the charge lots be enough? It's +1 available right now for Byun. There's no upgrades for Trap. The Immortal's gonna get picked off. Tries to snipe a tank, but it loses its life for it. And that's just GG. Byun is gonna take game number 3. And for Trap, this is definitely a game where you go back to basics. You try to be cheeky, and it just does not work out. You get stopped at every single turn. I don't think you're gonna try that again. This probe is going to go for the scout right after the gateway is popped down, and we actually see that Byun has once again hidden his barracks. Is this just out of view? Oh, that placement. Oh, wait, was that seen? Wait. Oh my god. Byun, the pixel perfect placement, hides the barracks. And now look at this, it's double gas. So what does Trap assume? What does Trap say? Well, Trap does know that Byun hit his barracks in the last game. He knows that happened, so of course he's gonna say, okay, well, that's an option, but you have to prepare in case it is a proxy. The Zealot is going to be produced. That means that oh my. You love it. I love it, Trap. It's being a little bit cheeky, as the natural base is going to go down for the Protoss. And look at this, Trap hanging his probe around. Is just going to use it for a second scout. Is just going to check out, hey, when is the timing of your command center? And it's the same as last game. So Byun does go for the factory first. Is, I believe, going to get a tech lab on it. No, immediately into the Widow Mine for defense. And then has, of course, the safe CC on the high ground. So Byun just going to make sure that he doesn't lose anything. And, of course, doesn't know that he delayed the Nexus, but he did delay the Nexus by a solid, 10 seconds or so. The probe is going to go down. Marine production should start to deal with that pylon, and it actually should be dealt with by the time that the command center is finished, so it's not going to slow down Byun altogether that much. The Reaper. Gonna be hanging out here on the high ground. Gonna check out what the tech is. Should be able to see. Ooh, not gonna be able to see the Stargate. Finally gonna dive on through. Byun sees the Stargate. Is gonna lose the life of his Reaper, but he's honestly probably pretty okay with that fact, knowing that he now has full information on what the Protoss is doing. As the Widow Mines are out, they are going to be used potentially for a Widow Mine drop. We'll see, though, if Byun decides to try and get a kill onto this Oracle with these hidden Widow Mines. These are very nice positions. And you see players do this a lot, where they actually hide the Widow Mine behind a building, because the Widow Mine does leave a mark on the ground that you can see even when they're burrowed. So you just hide it. You be a little bit cheeky, as the fake medevac is going to go out once again. Byun wanting to just try and buy as much time as he can to get his natural base set on location. These 2 Oracles have been produced, and they haven't been sent across the map just yet. I think just being used for defense here by Trap, in case that Widow Mine drop did come, which it has not. This natural base for Byun is going to land, but look at this Trap. 420, 3rd Nexus. Being so greedy right now, and he knows he can, because Byun is not doing builds that really lend themselves to him pushing across the map and doing, 5-minute attacks and 5-minute pressure. That's just not how these build orders are working for Byun. As 6 Adepts going to make their way across the map with the 2 Oracles, with a Phoenix. And we'll see how much damage this can get done. Byun, do you have your tank? Siege, do you have everything in position? That's a no. These units are making their way in. The tank is alone. And that is a snipe on the tank. That is a massive loss, as the auto turret is going to go down. Some great Widow Mine connections, though, as the Cyclone has picked up the auto turret, getting so much value so far. Raven has to be pulled back. The Cyclone survives. But now the mineral line is under fire. You see this SCVs start to go down, but they're not being focus fired properly. Only 6 fall, and 3 of them are so low. As the recall is burnt, and that could have been so much more efficient for Trap, but still is able to find a decent amount of damage with it. Loses all 6 of the Adepts, though. And it ends up being an even trade, but the worker count is really where Trap is taking a lead now. 11 workers ahead. Has a 3rd base finished, 3 probes at a time. Byun is still working to saturate his natural. And this worker lead is just going to get larger and larger. It's actually not going to get any smaller, because Trap is working on that 3-base economy. He does have 3 probes at a time that he can produce. Byun needs to actually do something. This means that Byun has to be active. He has to get out on the map. But right now, I mean, what does he have? He doesn't have Stim. Stim hasn't even started. Wait, Stim hasn't started for Byun. That has to be a mistake. Okay, Stim just starts now. I feel like that was a mistake. There was a solid, I think, almost a minute there where Byun did not start Stim. Now going to add on the additional add-ons, and Byun's not going to be able to be aggressive for a while now. This Trap is sitting at 59 workers, is continuing to produce probes, is adding on additional gateways and a forge, and this is just a game where you see how greedy the Protoss has been, and their opening and everything has allowed them to be this greedy, because Byun is expecting pressure. He's expecting, something from Trap. Meanwhile, Trap is just sitting back and saying, well, I'm up 20 workers, almost. I'm up 14 workers. I'm fine. And that's absolutely true. He is just looking at the mineral income right now. It is, it's pretty heavily in favor of Trap. As Zealots are being produced, Templar Archives, Charge Lots. Byun is going to start his 3rd base. And now going to try and look for some auto turret harass here. Be careful not to lose the Raven, the blink up. Byun, oh my god, just barely gets it out. That should not work. That does manage to find its way on out. The Phoenix is going to try and chase it down, and luckily the Phoenix is a bit faster, so that unit will fall. The Raven gets itself 4 worker kills, and for Byun, that's actually really nice, because Trap is actually looking to start to produce units now, so he's not producing as many workers. Byun can catch back up, but look at this army count. And oh no, Byun! Oh! Triple drop loaded up, flies right over a pylon. There's no longer going to have the element of surprise, and that hurts a lot. It's +1 on the way. Ghost Academy. Halfway done. And it's the Marines, the Marauders all on the way. A good snipe onto the Oracle. It's one of them down. Just a little bit less Revelation energy available for Trap, as Byun is finally going to be able to establish his 3rd base. And despite the fact that Trap has had this massive lead, has not been able to use it. Byun has just been macroing up. He's now been able to catch up in the worker count because Trap is working on his upgrades. And because of that, Trap's army actually isn't even that much larger than Byun's. Trap's army is actually of a similar size, which is insane to think about considering that, I mean, Trap was mining almost 500 more minerals per minute, if not more, at a time. Excuse me, at a time. There's now Ghosts on the way. That's a big storm. A lot of Marines end up going down, but Byun has Ghosts out now. Has those EMPs available. Has actually gotten himself to a worker lead, and I'm not sure how, but Byun has macroed himself into a lead in this game when it felt like he was so far behind. But just knows where to play his cards, plays it out safely, and Trap really doesn't have any option but to let him get back into the game. Trap can't be aggressive, doesn't have the unit composition to be aggressive, and try and deny that third base from going down. Robotics base on the way. We will be seeing a double robotics facility for that double disruptor or double Colossus production. The Oracle goes down. Ghosts are moving forward first. Gonna look for those EMPs as the force fields are decent. The EMP though doesn't actually catch a lot of the army. +2 weapons on the way for Trap. Byun. +1/+1. Finishing up now. Does he have enhanced shockwaves? No. These Ghosts are just working with the reduced radius of the EMP. And Byun is actually just going to pull back to his bases to where his 4th is building, adding on an additional, adding on an armory and an additional engineering bay to start on his 2-2 as well as his ship weapons. But the thing is, it's actually disruptors. It's not Colossus. So these Vikings that Byun is producing are not actually going to be that useful. They can snipe the Warp Prism for sure, but that's about it. You would actually I think, much prefer to have Liberators or something that's a little bit more potent in the air. More medevacs. Liberators, of course, can be used for harassment, can be used to set up an entrenched position. But the Liberator is a unit that you only really pull out when you want later in the game to really start to turtle up. As the Dark Shrine is on the way for Trap, he's going to be getting DTs out onto the map. As the rocks in the middle are actually going to be cleaned up here. I don't think you rarely actually ever see those rocks knocked down. It just makes it so much easier for players to defend. But once you open up that center path, the rush distance, third base to third base, is like 8 seconds. It's insanely short. So Trap giving that pathway now. I mean, it's a double-edged sword. He can use it. Byun can also use it. And this army is swinging its way on up. What does Byun have to defend? It is just bio. There are only 2 tanks. Byun is not relying on any tech, as those are some great EMPs. But the disruptors are here. And again, for Byun, you're using Vikings, but these Vikings don't have much value. Well, they do if Trap produces Colossus into them. And that's actually what Trap is doing. Trap is getting 2 Colossus at a time now, and he's building it into a Byun who already has 6 Vikings. He's adding, going up to 8. I feel like this from Trap is a bit of a mistake. He should know. He's seen the Viking count already. SL drops going through. 2 medevacs going to be split off to help deal with that as a blink forward. Disruptor shot. Nice Widowmine hit. And Lost Stalkers get cleaned up. 9 workers in total going down, though. The Warpin's coming through, and Trap actually finding a ton of damage here with this attack, with this harassment. This is how he's been winning these games. As they are going to get cleaned up now. Byun needs to come in at the front, though. Is the Focus Fire there? The split is there, though. As the Focus Fire, the shot still goes off. Byun loses so much. 21 workers falling. The Natural is still under fire, but he's only down 15 workers after all of this. Somehow managing to, have an amazing worker count. 2 more command centers still being built. Byun macroing up. Trap, though, is on 5 bases. Byun needs to wait for this 2-2 to finish up. If he's able to get to it, he'll be so much stronger. But he's lost a lot of the Vikings, and now the Colossus are out. A second source or third source of splash damage added on. Shadow Stride on the way. Dark Templar is going to be added in. And +3/+2 on the way for Trap, who is continually trying to get ahead here in these upgrades and should be able to. Again, Byun is just working with, I mean, bio and starports. It feels like he should add on, at this point, some factories, something to help him out as the disruptor Byun tries to focus fire it, but not gonna be able to find the kill. As, oh my, Byun loading up 3 medevacs. He's splitting off a lot of his army. This is where you have to be careful as Byun. If your opponent commits on in, as the Dark Templar are here, the scan goes down, and Byun shuts down that counterattack. Now Byun's gonna push across the map at the same time. He sees the trap. Where trap is, the triple drop goes on into this 5th base. Pylon gets sniped, Byun picks on up, is gonna get out. And at the same time, look at this, Byun all the way on the other side of the map is gonna be able to find an opening. And this should just be a dead Nexus. As Trap's army is completely split, a storm does go down. EMP is gonna be thrown out finally. And you can actually just stim down these disruptors. Byun knows it. There we go, one gonna fall. And Byun finds some good damage, just backs up, does not want to overcommit. Knows that he can't afford to try and really commit in there, lest he lose all of his units. 3-3 on the way for Byun. The +3 attack already finishing up for Trap. Byun is trying to establish his 5th base. More ghosts on the way, more command centers being placed down. And again, I'd love to see additional factories added on. I mean, additional starports, just some other units added in here for Byun, because while Byun is so good with his bio, and while it's so efficient and he can split the map very, very well, you're starting to approach the point in the game where you need to turtle up, and you need to have units that trade more efficiently. And so something like a Liberator, you know, +2 Liberators. As we do see, there we go. Fusion Core on the way, so the Liberator upgrade will be coming through, and Byun will be heading into that eventually as the Vikings looking to focus down a Colossus. 2 volleys and it's dead. Storm and the Stalker blink forward. Gonna get rid of a lot of the Vikings though. Oh, as Shadow Stride. Byun not paying attention here. Gonna lose all of the units on the right side of the map. At the same time though, he's pushing on the left side. He's gonna try and get this base once and for all. Has to back on up though as the whole army is brought on over. There's just so many splash damage options and you can't afford to be caught on out. Disruptor ball gonna connect as a lot of ghosts go down. More Marines gonna fall and Byun. More Vikings in production, but this 5th base is not long for this world. As DT's trying to look for the surround, the Shadow Stride forward. Where's the EMP? There it is. All the DT's gonna get cleaned up. But Byun, does he have enough? Disruptor shot very well split from. But, I mean, Trap's just blinking on in. Trap just has enough. Byun got too aggressive. He didn't have any security in this game. And sure, you have a lot of command centers, but that does not really matter. As there are no tanks to anchor this. There are no Widow Mines to anchor it. No Liberators. No unit to really allow Byun to push out on the map without getting collapsed on. And Trap's army just moves too fast. 6 bases available for the Protoss. Trap is going to push this down. And Byun just does not have enough. As good splits come through, but there's only so much you can do. And there we go. GG is called. Trap gonna tie us on up, and we're going to another game 5. There's definitely a possibility of aggression. There's definitely a possibility of this game being very explosive. Both these players just trying to get in each other's face, trying to force issues. As I do apologize for that. I thought I switched scenes. I think I, unfortunately, was not able to. Was that a... Okay, no. Byun did just kill the little map critter. Unfortunately, the little sweeper bot, which I think is very rude. Those sweeper bots are so, you know, they try so hard on Hardwire. They clean the map 24/7. No pay, no appreciation, and Byun just goes ahead and kills it. And I'm just gonna say it. That is not okay. That is stop sweeper bot hate. We do have a Reaper scouting out for proxies now for Byun. And it's going to be the concussive shell opening once again. Doesn't appear as though there's going to be any mix-up. This should just be concussive shell into the 3 racks for Byun. And, you know, it's a build, again, he used it very, very well. Almost every game that he's played with it, he has won. It's... And Byun, I don't know. Something about the 3 racks and Byun just kind of... It kind of works. It's like peanut butter and jelly, you know? You're just like, wow, this works. It's like, you know, a caramel and an apple. You're like, I don't know why, but it just works together. And that seems to be the case. As Command Center on the way. He's going to be finishing up very, very shortly. And it's going to be the immediate Twilight Council here from Trap. And we'll see if that's going to be for Blink or not. But Hardwire is a good map for the 3 to 4 gate Blink Stalker opening, which of course you can do and still macro out of it, as this Reaper actually going to get quite a bit of value. The Probe's trying to get the pull, but no, Byun is going to get the full scout. Trap, obviously, not very impressed with that Reaper's evasion abilities as the Blink is now started up. Trap not wanting to give away that that was going to be his tech, but you know, as Byun, you kind of know. You see the fact that, hey, that's a very, very early Twilight Council, and actually this pylon even gets spotted out. Byun really starting to already shut down some of this stuff. Widow Mines are on the way. SCBs are going to start to be eliminated by these adepts. 3 going down, the Marauders being brought back now. They should just shade on out. As we finally see, I mean, more units being brought over. What is there actually for Byun? He has a bunker, but it needs to finish. He has Widow Mines, but they're not burrowed on the low ground. He's finally going to finish up the bunker. Should be able to bring over all these units. Marines on in there for that extra range. And so far, it does appear as though it's just going to be 2 gateways. We'll see if Trap goes up to 3 or 4 is really going to be the difference in this build order. If it's 4-gate Blink, it's a bit more aggressive. If it's just actually 2 gateways and some Blink Stalkers, this is actually very, very greedy from Trap. He knows that this is a 3... No, he doesn't know that it's a 3 racks, does it? It is actually the 2 racks. Never mind. So it's not going to be 3 barracks. It's not going to be as aggressive, but Byun, this is a build that he can use to a lot of pressure early on. And if Trap really is just committing here to not a lot of gateways, just 2, in fact, and just for the defense and this early 3rd Nexus, this could get very troublesome if Byun is able to apply pressure, if he's able to find damage. Medevac gonna go on in immediately. The Blink. Widow Mine is gonna burrow. Singular Probe will fall down as, again, the Blink is available up on the high ground, so this Medevac has to be careful. It's just gonna patrol around, not going to actually try and dive on in. But Stim Pack is on the way. No more additional gateways have been added on for Trap. This army, I mean, it is 7 Stalkers, it's very nice, but tanks are also being produced, mind you. And Byun, what is going to be his plan? Well, the 3rd barracks is finally being added on. It is Marines and a singular Marauder at a time. And once the stim finishes, I'm not sure if he's going to look for the stim timing, because, of course, you don't have the +1 with it, but it would be, I think, the best option for Byun if he wants to get aggressive. If he's not going to immediately go for a 3rd command center fairly soon, I think that has to be the call. Stim Pack is finishing up. Medevacs are on the way, so you're kind of completing the unit composition for Byun. The tank has been unsieged. Well, it doesn't look like Byun wants to really commit to it. And this is the hard part for Byun, is where he has to decide what pressure he wants to go for, when he wants to try and attack, because right now, Trap's pretty happy just sitting back. He got away with just 2-gate Blink Stalker. He's going to finally be able to add on additional gateways and get his charge up. But for a while there, he was just working on a fairly small army count. Byun snipes the Observer, then loads up the double Medevac drop. She did actually fake earlier, and actually, if Byun actually snipes this Medevac, or the Warp Prism does see it though, can move units back into position. Did Trap notice? It does look as though he did. The Stalkers are being pulled back. Charge is done. Trap can't go for the drop. Does have to back on up. And both players here almost at a stalemate. More units being produced though. Byun is going to try and find this double drop around the side of the map. Finally, he's going to start up his 3rd command center, realizing that there's no real pressure to be found immediately with his units. Instead, he's just going to focus on trying to move out on the map and keep Trap in his base while he establishes, while Byun establishes his 3rd, of course. Gets his +1 up as well, and the upgrades are actually going to be a pretty big deal, because right now there's not really a forge available for Trap, and so if Byun is able to get up into, you know, a +1/+1 advantage with these upgrades, then that can make quite the difference, as the charge are going to be warped on in. Byun has to be careful with his medevacs, doesn't want the Blink Stalkers to focus on them, but at the same time, he's going to be attacking the third base, and there's no units down here. Finally, Zealots are being brought on forward, but the Widow Mines getting baited on out. Pickups gets on out, and I think Byun actually saves all of the medevacs here. Loses all the Marines in the main, but gets the medevacs out, which is, of course, important. That means you don't need to replenish those units. You can actually just focus more money on your command centers, on your upgrades, and on adding additional barracks. As immediately 2 Vikings on the way as well. Storm is being researched, so once again, Trap just going to be going for the High Templar into Psionic Storm. You know, kind of foregoing Colossus until later in the game, which honestly has worked out fairly well for him. It hasn't had too much of an issue, but 6 workers do go down for Byun there. I mean, this... Oh, that's why the Vikings came out. Okay, I was going to say, it's weird that Byun has not cleaned up that Warp Prism, but that's why he is getting the 2 Vikings, so that hopefully he can clean that on up. Recall is going to be used. Warp Prism will survive. But Byun now sitting on 3 bases. Trap is going to look to take his 4th fairly shortly. As, you know, Storm is finishing up, as he's going to get +1. Byun, though, Byun has a lot of gas. I feel like right now Byun should have an armory and should start working on his +2/+2 with how much money he has available. Because right now he's only working on 5 barracks. You know, a factory and a starport, you actually don't have a lot of production to keep up with a 3-base economy. So, and you're not getting your 2/2 upgrades when you could be continuing to push that advantage. Finally, we're going to see that 2nd engineering bay added on. We should see the armory not too long after. Ooh, as Trap moving on in. Byun, what are you doing? He's going to look for this round. He's trying to bring all of his units back, but he's going to lose quite a few workers for this. As there we go, he's going to come on the backside of this army. Ooh, High Templar being dropped out first. Storm's not the best, though. As the High Templar go down, Byun continuing to try and stem on in, but he's losing so many workers. The army, though, is thinning out, and also a Zealot counterattack. Trap looking to try and just finish this game with 1 fell swoop, and he might be able to. 23 workers going down. EMPs being used to get the shields off of those Zealots, but so much has fallen for Byun. Even though he's able to trade out the army, guess what? Trap has 64 workers. Trap is establishing a 4th behind this, and Byun's just going to continue to lose more. As the anti-timing, Byun was trying to move out, and it didn't work out. Trap was also attacking at the very same point in time. So Byun wasn't set up. It's down to 42 workers now. He can try and macro back from this position. It's not impossible to. 42 workers. Byun had a lot of workers. You know, Byun was in a really, really good spot, so this just kind of puts him behind. But you can still work from this. He's still adding on ghosts. Again, I would still like to see, continued Widowmine production. And finally, we are going to be seeing Liberators added on as well. And that was, again, that was the big thing last game, was that Byun just didn't have any units to help him hold on to the game. To help him, if he did end up, you know, not taking a favorable trade, he didn't have any units that would stop Trap from pushing. Any of those siege units. And so he's going to be adding those in already, but the Colossus production has begun, and there's no Vikings out on the map. Byun has worked himself back up to 54 workers, though. We are going to see a storm drop. Uh-oh, Byun not responding. 7 workers go down. 11 SCVs in total fall. And that's actually, it was manageable before, but that might be too much damage. Byun right now is at 45 workers to 71. He's 3 bases to 4. Byun is going to pull the trigger. He's going to try and push across the map. He has +1/+1. He does have that, he has that upgrade advantage right now. He has ghosts. He has liberators. If he's able to get a siege up, if he's able to find a fight, then he actually might be able to do a lot of damage here. He might be able to try and force Trap into an awkward position. The Liberators are going to siege up. EMPs immediately onto the army, get a lot of value as the Stalkers blink on forward. And Byun, does he have enough? I don't know if he does. The Colossus is getting so much value. The Storms go down. GG. Trap is going to take it. 3-2. Gets the win.